Hello folks, how you doing? And welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do a video looking at the energies for September 2024. And before I came on camera, I pulled a card for myself. And this was the card, or one of the cards that I got, was Navigating by the Stars, Follow Your Bliss. So that was just for me. And as I came to sit down to film this video, I asked Spirit, I just said September 2024, what are we going to be asked to do? What is September 2024 going to mean to us? And I heard the words, follow your bliss. Follow your bliss. And this is such a vast subject because it's so simple in some respects of follow your bliss. What makes you happy? But in so many cases, for so many people, for all of us in different situations, following your bliss can appear to be extremely painful or can feel as though it's going to bring in painful things. But ultimately, September is about following your bliss in everything. Going are the days where you just shut up and you put up, and that's what you do. You're born, you live, you do a certain job, you live a certain way, you bring your kids up a certain way, and then you die. And have lots of trauma in between it and get hooked in and become a slave to the system and all of that stuff, of which we all do. Things are changing, and we're navigating our lives by the stars. More and more people are turning to astrology, more and more people are turning to energy, more and more people are talking about astrology, more and more people are talking about the stars. Without us even realizing it, we're starting to at least crave slower lives, more grounded lives. Our bodies are sending us so many messages throughout the day in the form of exhaustion, pain, physical pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain, disharmony, dis-ease, conflict of everything that we're doing that is not following our bliss. And as these energies change and shift and increase, the less that we follow our bliss, the more it will hurt. And that's what I genuinely feel and believe, that the energies that we're going into, we have to at least start attempting to follow our bliss. And when we get to a stage where we go, yeah, but that's going to cause trouble, or that's going to hurt, or I don't even know how to follow my bliss or what my bliss is, that's when we know we're in shit street. Okay. And that's when we know that actually, now more than ever, we need to be following our bliss. September also feels like a month of navigation, of all kinds of different types of navigation. We are being pummeled at the minute with lots of energy, lots of light, lots of information, and lots of stuff in the global world, if that makes sense. And that can cause exhaustion and burnout. One of the downloads I had last night was that, and I wonder if this is August, there's been an influx of light that had to come in. And I keep talking about this. And I think this ties into when the horses went crazy in London. And again, it came up, didn't it, about timeline shifts. And we've all had this freaky thing lately where you look at the clock, it says 10 a.m. You look at the clock 20 minutes later and it says 10 a.m. where we're losing time. And it came up when we did the read on the horses that part of the reason for the horses doing what they did and Big Ben having a glitch was that something was planned that was quite horrific, and they, as in the Light Beings Galactic Federation of Light, stepped in to stop it. Something that was going to really take us off course. And I'm feeling, and that's why there was so much glitching going on at the minute. At the minute, ooh, it's still going. And I feel that since that happened, more and more light has had to flood the earth at a quicker rate than we thought it would be. And that's why literally it's like, what the hell is happening? Because it's almost like we'd hit a place where we could have stepped onto a really low timeline. And even though there is chaos still in the world, it's not what it could have been, which is why everything feels weird, everything feels unreal, everything feels illusionary. There's exhaustion, there's pain, there's disharmony, there's all kinds of strange things going on. So September also wants us to take a breath. I know I'm guilty of this myself. I do know I'm guilty of this myself, and I do try not to do it, and I always trip up. I was watching someone on YouTube at lunchtime, and she wouldn't take a breath, and I got to a point where I couldn't listen to her. She wasn't from the spiritual community because it was just like, and she wasn't even ranting. She wasn't. She was just talking about the books that she's just read. And I'm conscious I can do it. I used to do it a lot worse than what I do now, but it was like, just breathe, just slow down. Again, I will say it, I know I'm guilty of it, and I know many other people are guilty of it, but September feels like a month of breath, of needing to slow down, that we can't talk as fast as we used to. I can't even do it now. But, and I know, I think sometimes it's an accent thing. You can get talking in your own accent, and it can, anyway. Is to slow down in how we're driving, slow down in our eating, slow down in our work, slow down when we're cleaning the house. We're going to be asked to slow down to catch up with the new time. Interesting. We're going to be asked to slow down to catch up with the new time. September is also going to be a month where many big things will happen globally, and a lot of it will be illusionary. I'm seeing televisions. Sorry, I'm also seeing a hair across my eyelash. I'm seeing lots of televisions, lots of people waiting for the latest intel, waiting for the latest bit of. And I'm also seeing many people still sat there with bated breath, waiting for the next fear porn to come in. But I'm also seeing many people go, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. Whatever comes in September, take it with a pinch of salt. Time's running out for certain people and certain situations. And that is becoming more and more clearer as time goes on. They know it, we know it, and they know it above the line. It's important that if you class yourself, and I don't even normally use this label because I find it's been weaponized or narcissisticized. If you, I know there's no such word as narcissisticized, but I feel it has. Light worker. I'm a light worker. I've come here to save humanity. I've come here to wake you all up. No, you haven't. Um, if you class yourself as a spiritual good person that's on an awakening healing path, it feels as though September is a month that we remember that and keep remembering it, that we don't allow ourselves to be pulled into too much. And here is my next story. Um, you know, when we step away from mainstream news and we start maybe finding alternative avenues for news, journalists that have broken away from the mold, etc., etc., etc. And we can get really into that because news is coming up that they don't want you to hear about. And it can be quite interesting, especially if you find the right person for you. It can be very interesting. It can be very comforting and confirming of what you've been feeling. But I'm also feeling as well that a fine line and balance needs to be brought into that. Because, yes, on one hand, we need truths to come up, but for our own mental health well-being, spiritual well-being, We mustn't let the alternative news replace mainstream. And especially when we've grown up in environments where, I don't know, what it's 6 o'clock news, 9 o'clock news, when you're programmed like that without realizing it and you find another alternative, we can still dip in and out throughout the day. And what the guide said earlier was a lot of what you hear, you have no power over. You could be sat down listening to a journalist that is a really good, trustworthy journalist, and they're talking about something of which you're interested in, an alternative narrative. But you can also find yourself feeling during that video or post quite low and depressed, anxious, ill, and it can pull you back into something, not into the mainstream, but into something else. And it's a hard one because I do believe we cannot go through our lives going la 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 la, la I'm all right, Jack. But neither can we lose ourselves. So there's a time to maybe watch something, but there's also a time to say, you know what, I can't handle this. This we know what's happening. We know to some degree. Do we need to know the length of it? Do we need to know how deep it goes? Because ultimately we can't do anything about it unless you're going to risk your life. Truth. Unless you're going to risk your life. Simple as. Um, or unless you're in a position where you can do something. And it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. But it feels as though the more time that we can spend uplifting soul lessons, uplifting us, the better it is. And I'm just feeling a real need to get back in touch with old ways. There's no point sat all day watching truth tellers and videos like this if we're not also getting out into nature, if we're not making fresh food, if we're not starting to make our own clothes, darn our own clothes, repair our own clothes, starting living consciously, that kind of thing. It's almost like an energy of needing to do both. Um, Living mindfully, thinking about what we give to the earth. Um, and as well, social media detox. Detoxing social media. You may be finding as well that, especially for someone like myself who was a social media addict, a phone addict, really bad back in the day, awful. I really struggle now to go on social media. My job is social media, and I am noticing that at the minute that can go like up to 5 days without even going on it. And it's like, Claire, that's your job. So it's finding a happy medium, isn't it? To being able to, what are we going on there for? Are we doom scrolling? Are we bored? Or are we going, oh, actually, I like so and so, so I'm going to go watch their post. Does that make sense? Um, Needing to step away from, yeah, mindlessness. Celebrity. No, I'm not going to do a celebrity read, but am I going to share two insights I've had? Um, you're going to see more and more. Once you start awakening to what's going on in the world, you see it everywhere. Some of it's not dark, but it's manipulative. So, for example, Oasis. Now, before I go any further, on the grand scale of what goes on in the singing industry, Oasis, I feel, I may be wrong, Oasis getting back together to do some concerts isn't bad. Bear with me. And the truth is, none of us know what's really gone on there. But all of a sudden, these concerts have been announced at a very expensive cost. The boys are back together as if by magic. Poof, blinked and you missed it. Two brothers that absolutely hated each other, one of which ripped the other one to pieces on social media. Anyhow, they're getting back together apparently, and they're going to do lots of concerts in 2025, expensive concerts. Lots of hotels are now banging up the prices. I read yesterday that it's going to be some of the hotels are now charging up to £700 per room near these concert venues. And I just saw right through it. And I found myself having this conversation of, was this all fake? We know how the music industry likes to make big bucks and it uses people to make big bucks. There may have been a dispute at some point, but at some point, I wonder if they got back together anyway and bygones be bygones. And the powers that were behind them said, hold that thought until the right moment. I just have a feeling that there's something not right there. Um, but like I said, on the grand scale of what people do in the music industry, it's small fry. But it is if it just you can always tell something when there's no beginning, there's no end, there's no middle. It's just like how do you go from that to that to that without there's all these missing pieces of the jigsaw, of which there have been other things this year with missing pieces of the jigsaw. And I just thought, yeah, and I'm calling it out because I did get into Oasis in 2017. In fact, Liam was the last concert I went to see before my shamanic training. And I just thought these were working class lads that are now coming back together and it's going to be mega bucks to see them. They were working class lads for working class lads predominantly. Anyway, I may be wrong, but I just felt some illusion. There's also another bit of illusion I'm sensing. Believe when I say I don't actually follow celebrity, but I've been interested in the Oasis thing, not to any detriment or anything. Molly May and Tommy Tyson. No, that's not right. Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is Tyson Fury's brother. Tyson Fury is a big boxer, and so is Tommy. The Furies have got a big Netflix documentary, that old chestnut where it's like a fly on the wall, and I think it's at home with the Furies. Anyway, I got into it last year. Don't judge me for it. I didn't know any better. I've since changed this year and possibly won't be watching it again. Anyway, as if by magic he loses his first fight. It's a big fight, Tyson. Wife's not there. Strange energies during the but fight, not match. It's a boxing fight, isn't it? And I remember having this conversation with Gary of this ain't right. There's something not right here. And I think it was Gary that said, I think they've set this up. And I actually struggle. And it's something that's blocked my awakening journey, the global stuff, because I really find it hard to believe that people can be dark. I know it's silly, silly. I really struggle to see the bad in people. And I can struggle to see manipulation that people would intentionally set up something to manipulate people. I know, but I'm coming out of the other side of that now, as we all know. Anyway, then Tommy Fury and his fiancée, Molly May Hague, split up. And I just said, this is for Netflix. This is for Netflix. And again, on the grand scale of what celebrities do get up to and can get up to, it's small fry. But it's just more and more of it. And all it's, and I'm sharing, another reason I'm sharing it is because it can sometimes feel exhausting, especially when you know what, I'm going to just switch off and watch Oasis. I'm going to switch off and watch this. I'm going to go read this book or I'm going to watch this ceremony on telly. And when you start to realize that all of it is a little bit not as it seems, illusionary, not for your highest of good, and you start to realize, well, where do I go from here? Well, let me tell you where you go from here. You come back to yourself. And actually, the freedom I got from saying, oh, I'm not going to go see Oasis was liberating. The freedom I got from saying, I'm not watching the Furies again because number one, it's tacky TV and I see it for what it is now. It was the old bits of Claire that needed to be cleansed. And I'm not following this anymore because actually this is BS. It's actually liberating. So come back to you. Whatever it is in your life that you follow that brings comfort on the global stage, and you're starting to see the truth of it, even if it's not sinister, you know, it's just manipulation. It's just, they just don't resonate anymore. Well done. It shows your evolution of consciousness. It shows that you're actually progressing. It shows that you're seeing through BS. And if you're doing that on the global stage, you're also able to do it in your external world, your own personal world with the people around you. It can be exhausting because it feels like everything's been taken away from you. We used to love watching that. We used to love going to that concert. I used to love the Olympics. I used to love football. I mean, it's happening in everything, by the way. Everything is being taken away for something else to come in, for who you really are to come in, for who you're meant to be. Not the matrix merchant that we're programmed to matrix merchant. I don't cough at that. Oh God. Matrix merchant that you're programmed to be, but actually the divine being, soul in physical body, that actually thinks about what we're eating, what we're digesting, what we're playing in, watching, allowing to come in and use our energy. Um, Is it wholesome? Is it uplifting? Is it enlightening? Is it bringing some healing to my soul? Is it making me feel warm and fuzzy? Is it making me feel relaxed and clean and like I've just spent 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour watching something that's uplifted me? Or does it make me feel dirty, confused, stressed, overwhelmed? All of that kind of stuff. There's going to be a lot of that in September coming up for us, um, and a lot more throughout the rest of this year. Anything else for September? Anything else for September wants to come through for September? I'm in the Northern Hemisphere, so September is all about the doorway, the gate, sorry, itchy lip, the gateway into an itchy lip. It's about the gateway into autumn. So autumn is my favorite season. My two favorite seasons are autumn and spring. I love them. The gateways, they really are gateways. Autumn is a gateway to winter. Spring is the gateway to summer, and I love a good gateway, as you know. I love the fact that the weather's always not too cold or not too hot. I just like it. I love the coziness of autumn. So if you're in the north, I'll do this for the southern as well. So if we're in the northern, we're getting ready to hibernate. We're getting ready to cocoon. We're getting ready to batten down the hatches. We're getting ready to have cozy foods, soups, stews, casseroles, warm, nourishing drinks, warm, nourishing food. Warm, nourishing. I know books can't be warm, but you can get warm books. Obviously not touch books, but makes you feel warm inside. So using wherever you are in the world as a tool to help you with your healing path and to cope with the global chaos. Um, Using the seasons and living with the seasons, not in a happy clappy way that you're seeing out there a lot, but just living with the seasons, a time of hibernation, a time of stepping back, slowing down, taking stock, pondering. Um, thinking of the trees going crispy and letting go of their leaves to make way for the new buds. And also, as well, look what a tree does. It doesn't just let go of its leaves and then grows new leaves. It lets the tree rest and be bare. I like that. It lets the tree rest and be bare for some time, so it doesn't need to replace it. Um, if you're in the southern hemisphere, September is about the gateway into summer. It's the gateway into planning stuff, exciting stuff, stuff that's going to uplift you. Um, Being mindful of burnout, not packing the diary full of stuff, of which me and Gary did in August. Very silly. We got through it. We got the other side, but I don't think I'll do that again. Um, yeah. So working with the seasons, working with the gifts of September to bring into your healing journey. Now let's pull some cards on camera for those watching. We'll do two and the bottom card. So three cards in total. September 2024. September 2024. Grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. So, grace and gratitude for all that you've got and how far you've come. And through gratitude, your joy expands. Fellow travelers, support is all around you. So, this is a message from Spirit that says, we know the world is where it is right now, but you are not doing this alone. Happier times are coming. It's time to spread those wings. Think of a peacock, feathers, wings. I don't know what they would be called in a peacock. Doesn't matter. Stand tall. There's also a time to stand tall. Abundance, yes, coming in. Taking shelter. The answers are within. So whether you're in the north or the south, the answers are within. Taking shelter from the noise of the world, from the lies, from all that's going on out there. Coming back to wholesomeness, coming back to community, coming back to internal navigation, coming back to unity consciousness, not letting something separate you. Anything that wants to separate you into a belief system, this person against that person, is not of, it's no good. It's no good. Anytime we find ourselves going onto a side, we're not in a good energy. We're not in a good space. Whatever is making you do that is dark. It's not for humanity. It's not for unity consciousness. It's not for humanity. So stepping out of goodies, baddies, stepping out of global noise, even truth seeker noise, because that's becoming toxic as well. Um, it's okay listening to the truths of the world if you're able to bring that into your healing journey and it make you a better person. But if you're just listening to it for the latest intel and it's not making you a better person, it's making you more anxious, more tearful, more scared, more frightened, you might as well still be watching mainstream. And September is also a month of, that was interesting. Things buzzing, but nothing there to buzz. Anyway, September is also a month of clarity. Clarity finally comes for something in your life that you need clarity for. And that is September's energy update. We're also through Mercury retrograde. By the time you'll see this, Mercury will have gone direct. They do say, don't they, the week after that. It's still a tricky time, but the further we get away from it, the better. The further we get away from the day it goes direct. Yeah, it's been a interesting one. I have never known one like it. I even looked today to see when the next one is. It's the beginning of December. I'll possibly say the same about that one, but time out is needed after Mercury retrograde, I think. I think there's a period of time to decompress, to make sense of, to unpack, unpick, whatever you want to say, however you call it, process, understand, make sense of before stepping gently forward. And yes, tarot scopes for September are done. So if you want to go to the playlist section on this channel and go to September 2024 tarot scopes, your tarot scope for your star sign, moon sign, and all of that is all there. Yes. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and it's been lovely to spend some time with you. And oops, I'm still getting used to this new way of doing things. I will see you all later. Bye for now. Bye.